All right, guys, this is the order of business for today. We're going to be talking about how to create these digital animations with AI. And I'm going to show you a film that I created completely using AI and prompts in just a second. But first of all, we're going to talk about how we're going to create these with Google Flow and ChatGPT. Those are the tools we're going to use. And then step one, we're going to write our script, which I already have created. So don't worry, I'm not going to sit here and try to write a script with you. Step two, we're going to create our digital assets or digital ingredients. And we're going to talk about ingredients here in a second. And then step three, we're going to create our videos with Google Flow. This is the platform that I've been using for the past 2 months, and I try to understand everything about it, and I'm almost there. There's a lot to do with that platform still. There's things that I'm learning still. And then finally, we're going to be able to, I'm going to show you how to record or how to do your voiceovers using 11 Labs. So you can do your voiceovers if you want with your own voice. And I'm saying voiceovers because with these animations, to create consistent characters, you have to use a version of Google Flow that has no audio. So that's the way that I'm creating it. You can use Google Flow with VEO3, which has audio, but your characters will not become more consistent. They will become, it's however the prompt wants to create them at that time. So it's not going to be as consistent as with VEO2. And we're going to get into that in a second. And then step five, we don't have a step for that step by step, but this is for you to take in, edit your videos and export. Okay, that's the last step. So let me play it for you, the film that we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you step by step how I made it. Here we go.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here. Sometimes you've got to step into the scene yourself, because inspiration loves the sound of the tide. And when the sun fades, the adventure shifts gears. And for a second, the world feels endless. No script, no plan, just movement. It's in these quiet highs that the story catches its breath. Every shot, every mile, every wave, stitched together into something bigger. A story that's still unfolding, because the end of one chapter is the start of the next. Countless hours spent editing, stitching together the best takes into something that feels alive. Because some moments aren't just worth living, they're worth sharing. Every mile is another perspective in life, one you've never seen before. Because even the pit stops have their own stories. And the best scenes, they're the ones you live twice, once in the moment and once on the screen. Now go create something. See you in the next story.
All right, believe it or not, most of the work came in the part step one, which is write your script and the voiceover. And then I will say maybe the second most was step two, create your digital ingredients. So here is the step that we need to take first. The introduction, before we even started, is we need to have Google Flow and ChatGPT, access to those two. In Google Flow, you get access to Google Flow by signing up for a Google AI plan, okay? And the plan that you can sign up with is the Google AI Pro plan, which is free for the first month. So you can literally make a bunch of these your first month for free, completely free. And then after that, it's going to be $20 a month. And with this, you're going to get access to Google Flow, which is this platform right here, which I write my prompts in. We're going to get into the prompts here in a second. These are all the little clips that you just saw. I created them using Google Flow. That's really awesome. Now, after you do that, you have access to Google Flow. You have to have access to ChatGPT. So whether you have a free account or you want to get the ChatGPT Plus account, that's where I created my ingredients. See, the digital ingredients is step two. Those are the digital ingredients created in ChatGPT. So that's how you create those here. You see, every time I change wardrobe, I started with the different prompt, and we're gonna get that to that. We're gonna get there in a second, and then finally create your videos. So let's go ahead and talk about our step number one, creating your script in VoiceOver. This is a script that I wrote, okay? It starts with the script first because you need to know your direction, where you're going with this. So every time I have a different scene, you saw if you watched the film that you were here before and you watched the entire film, we're doing this live as well as recording this. So if you're watching this later, the film that you just watched had all these scenes in it, okay? So we have the creative studio, we have the beach, we have the drone shot of the water, the sunset, coastal highway, motorcycle. So all these scenes were broken down into the script. And if you saw something that's here, it's probably because I decided not to include it. But this was the original script, and I worked from this. You know, it's very fluid. You gotta go with the plan first, and then you might have to change a plan around if it doesn't work out. So after I put every header in with the setting of the change of setting that I wanted, okay? Underneath it, I put the voiceover, because remember, these videos don't have audio when you create them, and the way that I'm gonna show you is just the animation itself. So here, I put in my script, another day, another story to tell. I broke it down by scene. So every time I changed the scene, the voiceover was gonna read something different. All right? Now, that's the entire writing right here. And I'm going to show you how you get that voiceover later into 11 Labs. So you can write your voiceover all at once and then break it down underneath each scene so it's organized, or you can just break it down just like I did here. I wrote each line after each change of scenes. So that's the script. That's what you start with. You got to start with the script. Then you're going to create your digital ingredients. So what does that mean? Now, we're going to move a step ahead and then we're going to go back a little bit. The digital ingredients is what we're going to use for these clips here. Every clip starts with the digital ingredient. So for example, this one here, let me play it for you. That first opener, okay? First opener inside the studio here. That was created using this ingredient right here. Where is it? Right here. This one. You guys see that? Yeah, that one. So you see the screen is white. That's exactly what we want. You want just a white background. You want just your character to be the main focus of this ingredient, of this photo. This is different than frames. This is very different than frames to video. This is ingredients to video. This is different. So you don't have to have your setting here just yet. Now, this is the part, now we're going to go back, right? How do you create your ingredients? So your digital ingredients are created in ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT will need the following information. You need a reference character. So here I literally took a screenshot of a mid-sentence talking point of one of my videos. Took a screenshot of myself here, and I said create a Pixar style 9:16 ratio image of this person, full body, because obviously it's cut off. Make the background solid white. Image created, voila, here it is. Isn't that awesome? So then I went ahead and saved it. Download right here. There's a little download button right there. Next, I knew that I was going to have a beach scene. So going back to my script, I know I was going to have you don't have to change clothing, like change a wardrobe throughout. You can just use that character all the time. But I wanted to create a different look every time. I'm at the beach, I'm at the studio, I'm riding the bicycle. So then I knew that the next scene was going to be a beach scene. Okay, so I have the beach, and then I have the coastal highway where I'm driving this motorcycle. So back in ChatGPT, I wanted to create this character again. Okay, so I did create him in these shorts and the shirt, more casual, with the flip-flops right there. So here we are. This character, a black sleeve shirt and navy blue swim trunks with flowers. Here he is. And if you're wondering what to type this, make sure that you're going to type these instructions for your next visuals, not in here, not inside this Ask Anything box where you usually type it. You're going to click on the first image that it was generated for you here. You're going to click on it. Inside of here, it's going to say, describe what you want to add, remove, or replace. And that's where I typed character with short sleeve shirt, whatever, swim trunks. And you hit send in here, because if you do it out here, it's not going to be as consistent and it's going to degrade the quality because it's going to try to rewrite it from scratch. Where here it's kind of rewriting its code in its own window inside of the image, if that makes sense. So I clicked on the image and then I have like a different page that comes up. So this is where I typed it, and then you can see here there's a little response to that image, and it's giving me, you know, that little response, kind of like a response when you text somebody. Now, this doesn't matter if it's 5.0 or 4 or 4.5 GPT. I generated this on 4.0, I believe, and today we have GPT-5. So these were made before that, before GPT upgraded to 5. It's going to give you this quality here. I can only assume that GPT-5 is going to give you better quality. So there you go. So I created a second scene. So I went ahead and I batch saved all my digital assets. So I went here. I knew that I was going to be in the studio. I knew I was going to be at the beach. So I did it all in one shot. Instead of going back and forth, I knew I was going to be riding a motorcycle. So I went ahead and got that all out of the way. And for this, I wrote this character dressed as a biker, as if he's riding a Harley, solid white background. Okay. I did that inside of the first image. Again, this is my original image. This is my reference. Every time you change your character's wardrobe, you're going to type it in that first reference image. Let's see if there's a different look here now. Yeah, so here's another one. I put this character, no headphones, wearing a casual white shirt, dark blue jeans, solid white background. Because I noticed that I had headphones here at the beach. And I didn't want to, it just kind of, it was something that I overlooked, but I just kept it. It was fine. And then I went ahead, went here with the motorcycle, those headphones, because it kept it from the first reference image. And here was something else that I was trying to do, like an image for a cover, for like a thumbnail. I ended up not using this. Okay. So now this is the second scene that I wanted for just what we call B-roll, with no character reference or anything. So here I wrote Pixar style close-up of a steaming coffee mug next to a camera gear on the wooden coffee table or cafe table. And I did write it as 16:9 output ratio, just because 9:16 is standing like we saw here. Okay. And this way is landscape. It's a landscape image. And I'll tell you why in a second here. Because this one, instead of ingredients, I actually used the frames to video output, because this was not an ingredient. This was the actual first frame. And we're going to see that. And then the last scene, I was at the mountains or hiking by some waterfalls or something like that. So here I went back to the first character output, and I wrote this character, remove glasses, wearing a light jacket, hiking boots, and cargo pants, solid white background. So we went back to that. And then here's where I started messing around with the thumbnail. I did one for like a cover page. And then I did a sideways one for a YouTube thumbnail. But this is more secondary. This is not really part of what we're going to be talking about today. You can create a thumbnail. It's optional. So after you have all your digital assets saved, okay, I saved all of these into a local folder in my hard drive. This is where we're going to go to step number 3. So we created the digital ingredients. Now we're going to move on to step number 3. We have every duck lined up in a row for us. And now we're going to create our videos. This is the fun part. The worst part is over. And this is the fun part now. This is the fun part. You're going to go ahead and go to Google Flow. Okay. And yours is going to look different. You're going to have a thing here that says, create new project or something like that. You're going to click on that. And once you create the new project, you should have a window like this with I think it might even say text to video, the default. So this is where you're going to click on that option and do ingredients to video. Ingredients to video. And then here you're going to change the model, because everything that we've done so far has been involving VO3 fast, which is the ones that gets the audio. But for animation specifically, you're going to want to go back to VO2 fast, because there, as of right now, as of mid-2025, the ingredients option is not available with VO3, only 2. If you try to do an ingredients prompt with VO3, it's going to tell you to go back to VO2. So here we go ahead and pick our first scene, which is me in the studio, or your character in the studio. Now it's loaded right here, right? So once it's loaded, you're going to go ahead and type in what you want this setting to look like, okay? And what you want your character's actions to be. So remember what we talk about: character, setting, shot composition, action, and dialogue. With VO2, we kind of narrow it down to just, instead of character, it's an ingredient, right? It's the character is the actual ingredient of the whole of the whole video. So that's the ingredient. So we replace character with that. Number 2, setting. You're gonna have to say the setting because it's all, remember the background is white. This is just an ingredient, there's no setting. So you need setting, and then you need your shot composition if you want to describe it, and you're gonna need your action, no dialogue. So here I wrote this character, okay, there's the character reference or ingredient, in a YouTube-like streamer setup. It gave me a very poor kind of streamer setup. I was hoping for some LEDs and like shelves and books and cool things, but I could have tried it again, but I just tried it once and I thought it was fine. So a YouTube-like streamer setup, talking to the webcam as if delivering instruction to his audience. So that's all I wrote. So that is the setting. I didn't even write a shot composition. This is a medium shot. I didn't even write that. And I wrote talking to his audience because I wanted to start off as the scene with him kind of talking. You know, he's a creator. So we want him to kind of do that creator thing where he's talking to the audience and you're just got kind of a fly in the wall looking into it. This is how the scene starts. I'm going to play it one more time here and then we're going to just cut back to this instruction.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here.
All right, so you saw that, how I imagined that scene to start. That's how I did that. So then we're going to go ahead and do the second scene, but stories aren't just made in here, meaning in here in the studio. You got to go out into the world to get real inspiration, right? So that was the second ingredient, which remember it was the beach outfit. So I clicked on here, ingredients to video, and we have me here with the beach outfit. Make sure that this stays in VO2 fast, which it does. You only have to do that once, but it's good to double check. And the cool thing about VO2, it's only 10 credits. So that means that with your Flow plan, with your Google AI Pro plan that you have access to Flow, you got 1,000 credits a month. And because you're only using 10 credits to make these videos, you can essentially make 100 of these VO2 videos. It's a lot of videos. It's a lot of clips. And I think for this, I probably made about 15 to 20. I delete the ones that don't work out, so it's a cleaner outline for me here. When I scroll through it, I don't have like the ones that didn't come out right, so I delete them. But I did have some errors and I had to redo them. So in this shot, once I inserted my character wearing the shorts, I wrote side shot, tracking towards the ocean, from left. This was supposed to say from left. Character is sitting on the right side on the beach chair, drinking tropical drink and enjoy the ocean view, palm trees and beachgoers in the background. So here's the characters on the right, we have the beach on the left, we have palm trees and beachgoers in the back. Perfect. And that all started from this ingredient. Let me play this. It wasn't necessarily a tracking shot. I wanted the shot to move. I wanted the camera to move from him to the ocean, kind of like this. You got the picture, or this way. I think I'm flipped on the camera, so I did both ways to cover myself. So it didn't really move it. If I wanted to, I could have done it again, but that was fine with me. That was good. I think I only did this once, and I only did this once. It was later on that I had to keep redoing my scenes, and therefore kind of, burning credits, but it's only 10 for these VO2 videos. Now, I need my other guy with the cool biker outfit. So here we have it. This one actually has like transparent goggles, and when I ran it to VO2, it gave me shades, sunglasses, which at night is kind of weird, but I just rolled with it. Now, here I wrote, once I loaded the ingredient, this character in a night scene in a parking lot next to a chopper motorcycle, and behind them is a restaurant with patrons walking in it. So let me play that for you here. There you go. So I use a little clip of that. If we're gonna watch it one more time at the end. I don't remember if I used this or not. I might have not even used this little clip here. I'm not sure. I don't remember it. Now, we already have the biker outfit. Yeah, so we already have the biker ingredient, right? So here I just kept the biker ingredient in there. Remember, this is not frames to video. This is ingredients to video. And on this scene, I wrote this character in a night scene in a parking lot, walking towards and getting on the chopper motorcycle. Behind him, a restaurant with patrons walking in it as he drives off. So let me play that. It gave me a completely different, but it worked. I wanted him to walk towards the bike and then hop on it and then drive off. But this was fine. Like I said, you have to adapt and just take your wins when you get them. This was pretty good. I really like that tracking shot. This is a tracking shot. This is what the beach shot was supposed to be. And if you're wondering, how do I come up? Again, how do I come up with every scene? It goes back to my script. I'm referencing the script that I created here. So here we're at the outside. See where it says Coastal Highway? I changed it up a bit for him to start in a parking lot first to give you that feel of where he started before I went straight to a highway. Started slow and then take you to a bigger ride outside instead of just full on highway. So, and then this is where we're going to get into the highway piece, okay? All these parts. And then I actually swapped it around because the restaurant strip scene was supposed to be later, but I started with that because I thought it was a better fit to start with that. So he had dinner and then he went out on the road. So that's how I rearranged all that. Now here we have another shot. This actually went back a little bit because I decided that, and later when I was looking at this, I decided that this beach scene wasn't sufficient. So I'm going to reference the movie back, the short film again. Let me play it for you, and I'm going to show you where I inserted this right here. Oh, you remember most likely, but I'm going to show it to you because I felt like this scene dragged on too long. So I created more beach scenes so I can do this.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here. Sometimes you've got to step into the scene yourself because inspiration loves the sound of the tide. And when the sun fades, the adventure shifts gears. And for a second, the world feels endless.
All right, so that beach scene, it was too long to be dragging on this, because it would just be one scene. So I started adding more scenes to cover that entire script when it came to the opener. So then I went back to regular business here, which was the bike scene. So here we're back to resuming the bike scene right here. Now, right here is where I had to do a few shots because I wasn't really liking what it gave me. Let me read the prompt to you. Aerial drone shot of this character from behind in the night scene on a red chopper motorcycle, street lights streaking past as he rides on an empty highway. So I wish I kept them here for your sake so you can see what I was getting, but I kept getting this different results. I didn't like it, the angles, and it was fine. I could have used it, but I was picturing exactly what we see here, and I had the vision and I had to deliver it. I wish it was a little higher so we can see ahead a little better, but this was fine. I like the car going by. I like that it really kept it realistic. I don't know how realistic that double line is before the barrier, but maybe the barrier was something that was added after because people were having lots of accidents, right? They added a barrier so they wouldn't cross over. So I did see that, but I thought it was fine. So then the next scene, a wide shot, again, same ingredients. So the cool thing about these outfits is that once you have it locked in, you don't have to keep generating frames. So wide shot of this character on a red chopper motorcycle looking out from a beautiful bridge, taking in the ocean scene at night. What I wanted it to be was him off the bike, kind of the bike parked, and him on the bridge, just looking out into the water. But this is what it gave me, and that's what I took. I said, all right, great, no problem. Didn't give me exactly what I wanted. Because remember, you have to pick your battles here. You can spend a lot of time making these. It took me 3 hours from scripting it to delivering every single asset to then making the videos, and then maybe a little longer to edit it and put music to it and put voiceover to it. So I thought this shot was too basic, so I went ahead and tried to spice it up a little bit. I added the same ingredient. I kept it in there. And here I said wide aerial shot of 90-degree angle down. That means a direct look down. I was able to create that kind of shot before, but for some reason on VO2, it was not understanding. I wanted the shot to be like directly down, that you see from above, you know what I mean? Like a 90-degree bird's eye view of the character riding, and then you see like a wavy ocean on the highway at night, and this is what it gave me. But I thought it was a beautiful shot. I mean, it's pretty good. I liked how it rotated, and then it kind of came back in. It tracked along with it. This is so cinematic. I mean, this is amazing. This is what I went to school for, is film production. So when I see things like that and how you can just create it using a prompt and a few just creative ideas. Again, this is the kind of stuff that I tell you guys, that you have to learn the tool to then express your ideas, and not just to create just random AI stuff. And I know it's fun. It's a trend sometimes to create AI things and have fun with it and try to get a video to go viral so you can get more followers. But essentially, it's a skill that's going to set you apart. So with these tools, you can express your creativity, your ideas, even your humor. You can use it to educate people, to do a tutorial on something. You can use it to do text on the screen, like you saw the credits on that film. It was done using VO2. The text on the screen that says created by, and then it said my name. That was all created in here. So you can use text as well, and you can market a service. You can promote a product. There's so much to do inside this tool, and I just used it in the beginning with trendy things, but now I want to kind of dig deeper into showing you guys how to create more meaningful things that you can even sell to people. So again, I went ahead and did more bicycle shots because I just wanted the dynamic look, and it kept giving me the same bike, which was awesome, or very close to it. I don't think I can pick anything different, but I'm sure there's something different. So here we go, extra wide shot of this character with sunglasses on the chopper. And I said sunglasses because remember how this asset here, it gave me, let me go back to a fuller version so you can see the bigger picture of him, how he gave me. So when he was generated, it was kind of like goggles. Like you see the goggles on his head? That was supposed to be on his face, but essentially it gave me like these type of glasses. So sometimes on Flow, it would generate this asset with those glasses on it. So I had to keep saying with sunglasses. Those are the bloopers that I deleted. They're not in this view here. You don't see it. Now we're gonna get to we're almost coming to the close when we're gonna put the overlay of the sound. Okay. So here's another chopper scene. Let me play that if I haven't already. All right, if you're watching this later, this is done before a live audience, okay? We're streaming to multiple platforms, and I'm also recording this. So I'm trying to go as slow as possible so we can get this in a recording that you can reference step by step. This is the part what I was telling you guys about on ChatGPT when I created asking for a 16:9 or a landscape image, because on this, I did not use ingredients, I used frames to video. This was a frame, as we learned in the past in this course. We have a frames to video prompt here, and let me go back. Here we have it. So it had nothing to do with that character, okay? It was just inside of that same chat because it helps to keep it in the same session. So here I just wrote Pixar style close-up of a steaming coffee mug next to a camera gear on a wooden coffee table or cafe. So it's a cafe. Okay, it's a cafe environment. That's all I had to say, and it gave me a cafe environment. So we have the mug, and then we have some cameras. I could have done different ones just to maybe just have one camera instead of two, but I was happy with that. So I used that as a frames to video. So I went ahead here, and I clicked on that frame. So essentially it's going to generate a frame from that image, a video from that image. And here I just wrote simple, slow zoom in shot. Here's what I got, a zoom in shot. And it's 8 seconds. And I really just used 3 seconds of it in the film. So that is a zoom in shot. And now we get to the other outfit change. Remember this outfit change right here? Let's see if I have it somewhere. Here we go. So this character, no headphones, wearing a casual white shirt, dark blue jeans, solid white background. So we're back to ingredients. So we're no longer in the frames to video. We're back to ingredients. And by the way, that frames to video was VO2 still. It was still VO2 because I didn't need any audio. So it was only 10 credits on that one. On that one, for the next change, you make sure that you go back to ingredients to video, click plus, and here we have the next ingredient with the change of outfit. And here I wrote, this character working on the laptop seated at the reference scene. Oh, this is an important piece of this. You see how I said this character working on the laptop seated at the reference scene? Now this is how I got creative with this, and I was kind of proud because it was the first time I did it on this VO2, and I was like, oh, I can do two things. And then I went ahead and did a third thing, and you're gonna see that in a second. And by thing, I mean I added a second ingredient. So here, I clicked plus, and remember that frame that we generated? So I put that frame in there as an ingredient, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that would work. And I simply said, first time, it was perfect. It got my skin color a little darker here, but I was very happy with that. It was the first time the prompt came out, and it was the first one that I used. This character working on the laptop seated at the referenced scene. So the reference scene is that scene that I just uploaded a frame of right there. So those are two ingredients. Boom, hit send, VO2. And look at how beautiful that came out. We have the referenced scene. It's the same environment. We have that character. Look at the reflection in his glasses. He's got my hat on. I mean, now I was like, oh, you know what? I don't think I'm pushing you enough, buddy. So I gave it a third. I gave it a third ingredient. And guess what the third ingredient was? Let me play this for you. And I think you're going to get it once you watch it. So we got the scene. We got the character. And you see what's on his screen? He's editing the video of him on the bike. Now, how do I do that? Keep your character. Keep your scene. The third ingredient, I took a screenshot. You see right here? I took a screenshot of this video right here. Or one of them. I believe it was this one. Midway. I went here. I think I watched it through. I think right there. I took a screenshot and I saved it. I'm doing this on my computer. This is going to be very difficult from a phone. I took a screenshot, saved it on my computer, and then in here I wrote over the shoulder shot of the character in white shirt working on the laptop. So I said the character with the white shirt because I had a third ingredient here of the character on the bike. So I wanted to know that it was a character that I had on the white shirt here. So that's why instead of just saying this character, I specified that it was a character in the white shirt because I don't want it to make it where he was wearing the bike outfit, okay? Working on the laptop, sitting at the referenced coffee shop scene. Second reference was the ingredient was the coffee shop scene. On his laptop screen, he's an editor software editing a video of him riding a bike at night. So there was where I included that third ingredient, and it animated the darn thing. Look at that. It animated the third ingredient from a screenshot. It kind of created the same video. You remember how that video was kind of left and right, was panning? This one, you can see it's a different animation because it's just like steady on him. If you look at the laptop, if you're not watching this full screen, if you're here watching the live from a vertical platform, click on the little square and you can pull up the full screen sideways to watch it. So there, I was amazed by this. And this was the first try on this one. And there is the character leaving the workshop, the coffee shop. So I went ahead and deleted those ingredients. I just kept, this outfit. And here I wrote scene 1. This was after I did some trial and error on this. I deleted the ones that didn't work out. I think I had about 2 or 3 that didn't work out. This was the 4th try. So let me play this and let me kind of remap my brain as to what I wanted on this scene here. So yeah, this was kind of a messy output, and I'll tell you what I did with it. So scene 1, I wanted to have 2 cuts. On VO2, it does not like doing cut to shots. So we've been learning about cut to shots on VO3 to kind of cheat and get different perspectives from that same prompt. It does not work on VO2. This is how the iteration of this went. I said cut to, when I said scene 2 instead of scene 2, my original prompt said cut to shot of him putting the bag in the trunk of a silver 2006 Toyota Highlander. So it didn't work. it didn't do a cut to shot. So I said, oh, maybe I should say scene 1 and scene 2. Still didn't work. It was still the same scene. It doesn't like cutting scenes. It keeps it one fluent scene. So that's what I learned from that. And you can see here he comes out with a briefcase and the laptop on his hand, just like I asked. Look, a black laptop bag and a black backpack. Well, there wasn't a backpack. It was just laptop and a bag and the laptop on his hand. And that turns into a backpack right here. When he opens the trunk, kind of flips on him. But I still used a part of that shot because I did not use the 8 seconds fully. I used, I think, just the part where he's putting stuff in the trunk right here. See that part right there? This is what I used. Right there, I used that. That movement right there. Just that 1-2 second scene. So I went back to that here. Let's skip this for a second because I went back to this. I gave it a break. I wanted to move on because this was the 4th try. I'm like, all right, this is the 4th try. I'm not going to go a 5th time. Let me get some wins here to kind of get myself motivated because I was trying too long to do that and I couldn't get it right. So I moved on to the other scene where he's over here at the last scenes, right? This is closing the chapter here. Coffee shop. We have the mountain ridge scenes, okay? So here we have him outdoors and this is part of the script. Wide shot, character is outside on a beautiful hike in the mountains near a waterfall. He's holding a selfie camera with the GoPro. This is where we change this character from the hiking, from the casual to the hiking one. Here's the hiking one right over here. And that's the ingredient, okay? Ingredients to video. And this is where I typed in wide shot of character. I just read that to you. And that's what it gave me. So you're starting to get what I did now with the ingredient, right? So I'm going to be quick when it comes to referencing that. All right, so that was a good one. So I said, all right, cool. Let me go back here now. Let me see what this came up with. So again, it didn't give me, see the bag? I actually think I used this one, not the other one that I mentioned before. I think I used this side right here, this cut of him putting that in there. This is, again, I use the same prompt trying to get that scene. So I'm like, all right, so maybe I can just use the tail end of the scene. Now let me get that bag somewhere in the scene. So I changed the look of the scene right here. Daytime. Character exiting a coffee shop with the black backpack. So this is where I abandoned the laptop bag because it wasn't working out. I kept switching over to a backpack. So I said, character with the black backpack. And then scene 2, he puts the bag in the trunk of a silver, and I mentioned the car. And again, I didn't learn my lesson apparently because it doesn't like cutting. It's just one smooth motion. So it did, just introduce that in one smooth motion. So that was the part that I was able to use right here as he's walking with the bag. And then I tied it in with this final one right here. So in between, the audience can deduct that, he walked over to the car and he put his bag in there. Let's go to that scene here so you can see that and how the movie played out.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here. Sometimes you've got to step into the scene yourself because inspiration loves the sound of the tide. And when the sun fades, the adventure shifts gears. And for a second, the world feels endless. No script, no plan, just movement. It's in these quiet highs that the story catches its breath. Every shot, every mile, every wave, stitched together into something bigger. A story that's still unfolding, because the end of one chapter is the start of the next. Countless hours spent editing, stitching together the best takes into something that feels alive. Because some moments aren't just worth living, they're worth sharing. Every mile is another perspective in life.
All right, so it took a little bit to get to that point, but you saw how I was able to clip that and used it. So that's when some creative editing comes into play, okay? Finally, we're at so there's one more scene here that I decided to add because, again, if you guys are like me and you like different looks, every time there's I don't like to have a same scene for more than 3 seconds. So in post, when I was editing, I actually started building this timeline in my editor as I was creating these videos. So I decided to go back and create another scene here where he's just driving. And for that, I used the same outfit with the white shirt, same ingredient. And then I wrote this character, same clothing and hat, daytime. POV driving a silver. So I just put the car again, so it kind of referenced the same look inside. You can see the Toyota logo right there on this steering wheel. So I just kind of wanted a filler shot for that talking, the dialogue. And here's where the part where he talks about the pit stops. That wasn't in my script, but I decided to put something in there, either an accident or his tire broke, a flat tire. I was trying to get a flat tire, but it didn't work out. So in here, I just put the same ingredient again, the character. And for the car, I just kept saying 2006 Toyota Highlander. I didn't have an ingredient for the car, and it gave me pretty much the same car every time. See that? Or pretty similar to the same car. So here we wrote this character, same clothing and hat, daytime, busy road. He looks at a broken flat tire on the rear of the car and puts his hand on his head, worried. So that is the part where he talks about pit stops, and I added that in there. So let's go back now to our final scene, which is the hiking scene. So we loaded the hiking outfit right here. And it starts right here, I believe. Yes, this is the scene where he hikes. So very high cliff edge at sunset overlooking a glowing horizon with waves, a beautiful forest during sunset, orange hues. So you kind of don't have to create full sentences. You just kind of break it down into like just visuals. You don't have to use proper grammar or like tie in words. You just kind of, when you're at 3 hours into this and you just want to get it done, that's what you do. So that's, look at this shot, just from that one ingredient and the prompts. I was thrilled when I saw that. And then here we went and kept the same character outfit in here, and we wrote medium shot, very high cliff edge at sunset overlooking a glowing horizon with waves, a beautiful forest during sunset, orange hues. There we have it. And then you see how it worked out where he's moving his mouth here. And at the end of the short, if you watch it, he says, now go create something or something like that. If I can go back to the script, I'll be able to tell you exactly what he said. Now go create something. Yeah, so that is what I used to kind of lip sync over that part where he's moving his lip right here. So, and then we talked about that one. This is just a different shot at the end. Again, I didn't have enough beach shots, so I did another shot of him at the beach towards the end, because as I was editing, I felt like it was too slow with the beach shots. I wanted to introduce another shot. I tried the tire one was here done once. The first time I tried a flat tire, it didn't give me a flat tire. So the second, I deleted that. The second time I put a broken tire. So learn to adapt. If there's like a thing that you want to happen and you're not getting it, just change the action. So instead of a flat tire, it didn't know what a flat tire looked like apparently, because I kept doing flat tire. I think I did it once or twice, and this might have been the third time. I just changed it to broken, and you know, it was broken looking. It's fine like that. Probably broken axle. So at the end, I had everything done, and then at the end I wanted to do some credits. So I just wrote beach scene. Writing, no ingredients, no image to text, nothing. Just straight up text to video. And I went to VO2 and I typed beach scene, 3D animation background, the center of the frame, claymation style fonts, slightly moving on the screen, reads created by. So I made that. And then I'm like, all right, it's going to be very difficult now to create the same font style in the same scene with DJI media. So I'm like, yeah, I can't do that. So I tried it again. Let me play it here. I tried it again and I couldn't get it. So this is what I did. This is what I did on this scene here. I went to add to scene. This is a different it's a different procedure now. It's a different process. And because I kept trying to get the same look with DJI media and I couldn't get it using text to video. So I remember that on VO2, you can do add to scene, and look at this. Watch what happens here. You're gonna click plus, and you're gonna extend it. You're gonna click extend, and this will say what should happen next. What should happen next? So here you're gonna put what should happen next, and I simply just wrote. Let me go back to what I wrote here. Text reads DJI Media, and this was actually created. Oh, here it is. So this is the extended scene. So that was created inside of that. So inside of the extend scene right here, what should happen next? I wrote text reads DJI Media. So when you hit enter, it's gonna create the extended scene, which then will park itself here once it's created inside of the other look. So that's just the extended scene or add to scenes little the editing piece of it is inside of that, and this is like where all your prompts live. Once you've created the assets, they're going to live in here. So that's just another window. So here's what it made. So it does repeat the first one because it's an extension. It does repeat. See how it ended here? Look, this is the end of the first one. Watch how it ends right here. So then because we extended it, it took this frame and it kept going on it with it. There we go. And then here, I didn't like that it was together like this. See the eye? So I decided to go for a whole different look. I'm like, you know what? Because it ends, and I also put that on my timeline, and because the ending was kind of like orange and it was dark, it was kind of weird to go back to a day doing the credits. So the storytelling still keeps going, even doing the credits, okay? So the storytelling keeps going on that. So I'm like, because I ended with myself looking out into the cliffs or whatever, the mountains, so I wrote, did another text to video from scratch, text to video, VO2, 3D animation style, medium shot, very high cliff at this, at sunset, overlooking a glowing horizon with waves, a beautiful forest during sunset, orange hues, claymation style fonts, slightly moving on screen, reads created by. And I used the same process, like I said, and this time it gave me white fonts, which was cool, and it gave me like a second, it gave me a cut to shot right there. Look, the trees popping up. I was like amazed by this. It was really cool. Better than the beach one. So then again, I went to add to scene and I went to extend. And here's where I extended that scene by simply writing text reads DJI Media. So it took the ending. It took the ending. Oh, I guess I got to play it through. Took the ending, and this is just something, guys, that I learned 2 days ago. So I'm adding this. If you're watching this later, I'm recording this as I'm teaching it live, and then I'm adding this to my pre-recorded offerings. So here we have the DJI Media finale. Okay, that was done using an extended scene. So now I have everything. It's over. Look, this was done August 9th. So this is over. So now you go back like I did. You can do it. You can download each scene that worked out one by one, or you can go back and clean it up. The ones that didn't work, start deleting them, and then go back and download each one. So you got download, hit the download button, and this was downloaded at 720 because I didn't want to wait the extra minute to upscale it. But you can certainly upscale it to 1080. You just hit upscale 1080. My suggestion is to do it one at a time. Don't do all of the 1080 upscaling at once because it will glitch out on you, and then you're gonna get lost as to which ones were upscaled and which one weren't. So either do it one at a time and then wait and then download it at 1080. Once it's downloaded, once it's upscaled, it's gonna be on the top right. It's gonna say download. It's gonna be something like pending processing or upscaling. It's free to upscale, but I didn't upscale it. I went ahead and downloaded 720, every single clip, 720, 720, 720. So every single clip, I think it was like 15 clips altogether. So now we are done with the create your video step. Step number 4 is create or record your voiceover. In this case, I didn't record it using my own voice. I did the voiceovers using 11 Lab. And for the voiceover, all I had to do was I got my script because it was pre-written. Remember the script, another day, another story to tell. Just these lines. I got them all together. I typed it in one document. And then you're going to go ahead, if you want to use it on 11 Labs, to get this voice right here.
Another day, another story to tell.
That voice is completely using AI. You can have different people speak. You can have female, male, any kind of voice you want. You can even do a text to prompt voice to create your own sound. That is done through 11 Labs, which we've been discussing to create consistent voices. So here, you're going to be able to go and paste the entire script. Another day, another story to tell, but stories aren't just made here. So the entire script or voiceover. And I picked my voice. I picked the voice of Alex. He's an expressive narrator. And I hit generate speech. And he gave me the entire narration right here. See on the bottom? I'm going to play that for you.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here. Sometimes you've got to step into the scene yourself.
All right, so that was the voiceover. And I think I went back and changed some lines around. I just gave it that one line I wanted to change. But this was the bulk one. And it's going to give you an audio file. And then that, once you have your clips lined up, you put the audio file underneath every clip and you just adjust the timing of every cue of when every line is going to start. In this case, I had it broken down. I knew where every line was going to start according to the header. So I already had my pre-editing already done here. So I know exactly where I wanted to place those voices. So in that piece is how you create the step number 4. It's inside of 11 Labs. That was the piece that we just talked about. And just in case let me go back here. After you generate speech, just to close up my process here, you're going to go ahead and download it. There's a button right here next to it that says download. And you can hit that button, or it might be on the bottom of the screen by the playhead. Make sure you download it, because if you don't, that speech that you just generated might generate another one in a different tone. Meaning it's going to regenerate the file and maybe you don't like it as much as the other one. But don't worry, if that happens, go back on the top right. It says history. You can listen to the voices that the audio that generated beforehand. So if you accidentally hit generate speech and it does another generation and you're like, oh, this doesn't sound like as good as the other one, there's a history tab on the right side of 11 Labs. So that's, once you download that file, you're ready for step number 5, which is to edit your video and export. That means that now you're going to be able to either, have fun with your editing or give it to somebody else to edit. It depends on your workflow. I personally like to edit myself. Everything in there that you saw, it was me editing everything. So at this point, you're ready to upload it either to any platform that you want, whether it's YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, or if it's something that hopefully you made for a local business that you can sell to them. And that's how you create the digital animation with AI. And for those of you that are joining us here on the live, I'm going to play the entire short from beginning to end just for closure so we can wrap up the lesson. And if you're watching this on YouTube, at the end of this video, I'm going to end the live on YouTube and I'm going to stick around here on the live that I'm doing on another platform for me to start talking to the chat and see if they have any questions. And if you have any questions after you're watching this from a lesson, make sure to ask me either in the chat portion of this platform or send me a message. And here's the video. And after that, I'll bid you guys on the pre-recording farewell.
Another day, another story to tell. But stories aren't just made in here. Sometimes you've got to step into the scene yourself, because inspiration loves the sound of the tide. And when the sun fades, the adventure shifts gears. And for a second, the world feels endless. No script, no plan, just movement. It's in these quiet highs that the story catches its breath. Every shot, every mile, every wave, stitched together into something bigger. A story that's still unfolding, because the end of one chapter is the start of the next. Countless hours spent editing, stitching together the best takes into something that feels alive. Because some moments aren't just worth living, they're worth sharing. Every mile is another perspective in life, one you've never seen before. Because even the pit stops have their own stories. And the best scenes, they're the ones you live twice, once in the moment and once on the screen. Now go create something. See you in the next story.